It's beyond just creating mobile applications.
Are there some basic requirements that a developer should have before you call that developer a mobile app engineer? What do you think makes a good mobile app engineer? How does one actually make money as a mobile app engineer? Speaking of marketing yourself, are there any tips that you would give money or passion?
That's a tricky one.
What would be a comprehensive guide that you would give me for me to start? Hi Etornam, how are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great yourself.
I'm doing good. Like everything is fine. Yeah. So welcome to our talk. And on this episode, we are going to be talking about mobile app engineering. You are going to help us by throwing more light on what it is and how someone can get started in the field, like and things around that area. But then before then, we would like you to introduce yourself so that other people to know who you are. That's okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah. My name is Bright Etornam. So I like being called Etornam more. I'm a mobile engineer, and I've been writing code professionally for about 5 years now. I've been mainly in the mobile side, so the mobile sector. Yeah. I currently work as a mobile engineer team, and uh, yeah, I also consult for some other companies, right? I mean, my main stack is Flutter, but I also have um, some Android and native Swift UI like knowledge, and also do backend like once a while. Yeah.
All right, awesome, awesome. Yeah, we're happy to have you here. So the first question is for you to tell us about mobile engineering and like what exactly mobile engineering is about.
Okay, so mobile engineering, I mean, it's beyond just creating mobile applications, right? So it's everything concerning the mobile ecosystem. So even considering design, so mobile designs, considering your mobile security, mobile architecture before the app development itself, and managing the app and all those. So basically, it's a whole ecosystem on its own. I mean, just like how we have like backend that you have your server side, you have your deployment, your tools that you use, and all that. I mean, the same as the mobile engineering. Yeah.
All right, makes sense. So is it a field that you would advise someone to go into, and why? Why would you do that?
Yeah, I mean, mobile has been there for a while now, and I mean, from the first mobile OS that people have been able to create mobile applications for. I mean, it's been growing ever since. So it's something that I would say it won't go away anytime soon. So I can always advise anyone to pick it up. And the interesting thing is, see, unlike let's say backend, right, that you clearly don't see what you are doing. Like you don't have a graphical view of what you are doing, right? Um, for mobile, you basically see it, and also I mean, you can even have it on your phone, right? So you can run it on your phone and show it to your friends. I mean, it's something cool that you can do. You don't even have to host it anywhere, just run it on your phone and you're able to go in. Although, should I say, the deployment or the start cost is a little high because I mean you need a laptop that is powerful enough, right? But I think once you get over that obstacle, um, all it's up to you. You have to basically learn, yeah, and be willing to also learn. That's it.
Okay. Okay. So are there some basic requirements that a developer should have before you call that developer a mobile app engineer?
Yeah, so basically, just like the term like software engineering, right? You probably done something like engineering itself, right? Right. So yeah, for the basics, I mean, apart from you knowing how to develop an app, or you basically you know how to um, should I say decompress an app into its compiled form, right? I mean, you should know a little thing about security, or not even a little thing, because it's actually very important. Something about like mobile app security, because if you look at most attacks, right, funny enough, um, one easy way people can actually get you if like an attacker is trying to target you is probably through a mobile app, because sometimes when you install an app, you just give them permissions to do stuff on your phone. So, as someone who wants to be a mobile engineer, I would advise you probably have some basic understanding in mobile security. Yeah.
All right. So let's say I currently know nothing about mobile app engineering, and I would like to start. Would you like? How would you give me? Okay, what would be a comprehensive guide that you would give me for me to start from this very beginner, like this beginner level, and become and go into a stage where like I'm so good at it. Maybe not like so good, but like I'm okay with it, and I also have to like consider maybe being able to get jobs and then cashing out. Like all of these things are important. So moving from that beginner stage to this stage, what's a like, comprehensive guide that you give someone?
Okay. So, I will. So personally, right? I mean, my journey has been an interesting one. So actually, I didn't start as a mobile engineer or like working on a mobile app. I actually started on the web. So I was doing HTML and CSS JavaScript. Then a friend of mine introduced me to VB, and I mean, it was interesting developing apps for desktop. So I also picked up C++, I think during that same era. And later on, I got introduced to Java. So basically, I started doing like more Java desktop applications, right?
Yeah.
And during that period, I was it was like a very crucial learning phase for me, because that was my first time of actually being introduced to something called like programming in general, right? I mean, before that, I didn't actually know anything concerning programming. And during that period, what I did that I would say actually helped my career is I made a lot of research, like a lot, because I wasn't really having people around me that were doing the same thing. So, like, there was no one prepared to ask questions. Right? So, I remember I had lots of friends online from Philippines and India. So, usually, I mean, I get online, I ask them questions, they explain stuff. If I don't understand, I go to YouTube, I just keep on searching. You know, when you search and you found a link, and when you're reading, you found another link in that. So you just follow the you
Yeah.
just follow the rabbit to the rabbit hole. Yeah. So so the critical thing is you actually researching, right? Because you need to research. I mean, you can't take that out from the journey or even like your career. Like you need to research. It's something that you can't run away from. And you researching, you'll be exposed to lots of information, right? I mean, the good and the bad. But how you make use of this information basically determine where you will be in the future. And personally, when I picked some of this information, I use them. I read more on them. Before later on, I got introduced to the tech community, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, and for someone to be like mobile engineer or mobile developer, I mean, as I said, you need to make your research, know exactly what you want, because even in the mobile side, there are actually like different segments, right? So you need to know whether you want to be doing native apps or you want to go to the hybrid apps. And even with just the app development, there are some people that only do front end for apps, right? And some do just back end. Yeah, so and some do the both. So you need to know what you're actually targeting.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So basically, all this is like a research. Then, okay, maybe I want to go with native, right? Then what are the native languages there? Then, okay, there's Android, and Android uses Kotlin or Java. Or, okay, I want to do iOS app development. What do I need for iOS app development? I need a Mac. Do I have a Mac? No, which means that automatically you can't do iOS app development, right?
Yeah.
But if you have, you're like, okay, yeah, then what do I have to learn? I have to learn Objective C or Swift. Then, so basically, it's more like you just asking questions, find information, and acting on it. So when you get to the basics right, so at least you understand you now know what you want to learn. Then your approach is, I mean, how do I basically learn? Some people learn through reading some videos. When I started, I was so much into videos. Then
Yeah.
later on, I moved to reading more. So you determine one part, then I mean, you just go online and search so how to develop mobile applications for Android or using Kotlin or whatever, right? You get a lot of hits. Uh,
Yeah.
One trick I use is I always filter the like this year. On YouTube you can filter this year so that it will bring the most recent videos to the top. Yeah, so you pick one. If it's a playlist, you just pick it and watch it. Personally, I watch as I'm watching a movie. Then later on, I try to replicate it.
Okay.
Yeah. And if I'm stuck, I go back to the video. Personally, that's how I learn.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you do all this, then you get the basics. So then in this case, if you approach someone that okay, um, I'm trying to do this, I need help, or I want more knowledge on this, you can be able to communicate to the person well because you know exactly what you want, what you are facing. Sometimes I get DMs from people that okay, I want to do this, but they are not able to actually explain what they want. So I have to send them back that I mean, go and do your research on this and this and get back to me. Some get back, some don't. So yeah. So I'll say the business just do your research and know what you want. Then go ahead, learn it, and the rest of the phase is just a learning phase, right? You building and learning, building and learning. That's how it goes. Because before you can become an expert, you need to build like a number of tools, right? You have to
Yeah.
face a number of use cases. All this will basically guide you or shape you become who you want to be. So yeah, I'll say just research, learn. That's it.
All right, all right. So just to get a little more technical, what are some languages or tools that you would like recommend a beginner to start with? Maybe not necessarily it being easy, but then things that are used in the mobile engineering field these days.
Oh, okay. So, and even with this, I mean, it depends on the particular field, right? So let's say, let me take like Android app development. Right?
Yeah,
Android, I mean, you need Android Studio. You can't run away from it. You can try IntelliJ. IntelliJ, I mean, Android Studio is basically built on IntelliJ, right? So, either Android Studio or IntelliJ. Then what again? You probably need a powerful laptop. If your laptop is not powerful enough and you have physical Android phone, I mean that's even better. You can just run the app directly on your phone. What tool again? Uh, yeah, I guess that is it. The rest is basically you actually learning.
uh,
So something like YouTube. So you are watching like videos, you are downloading courses and all that. So I mean, for Android development, like that's the main tool. For iOS, again, iOS uses Xcode as its IDE. Yeah, although Xcode is very big, I mean, it can actually do a lot. Yeah, funny enough, it can do like so much. And then, so for iOS app development tool, again, you need to watch like videos. So basically, most of them, I mean, the whole development phase is tailored towards just a tool, right? So you don't need a lot of things to move just one particular thing. So once you get your ID and your emulator or simulator, I mean, you're actually good to go. All you have to do is
okay.
probably get a good course and move on. For something like Flutter, you can use again Android Studio IntelliJ or VS Code. So VS Code is much lighter. So I mean, it's if your laptop's not powerful enough, you can always use VS Code. Yeah,
Yeah.
and with your emulator or simulator or your physical phone, you're good to go.
All right. So to you, what do you think makes a good mobile app engineer? Like what's the determining factor?
Uh, that's tricky. So I'll probably say being able to. forecast to probably identify a problem. So sometimes, like I mean, usually in your whole engineering or app development phase, I mean, someone can just come up with you with an idea, right, or with a problem statement. Right?
Yeah.
You should be able to figure out whether it's going to be possible with this tool or not. I mean, I'm a very big fan of Flutter, right? I mean, I've been using Flutter for like 4 years now, but there are some particular applications I will never go with Flutter for. Like, I won't just do it.
Yeah.
Not that it's not possible. I mean, it's possible, right? But you have to probably write a lot of hacks, or you probably face a lot of issues on the way, and the user experience may become very, very bad. So I'll probably go with native rather than Flutter, right? And I mean, a good mobile engineer will probably know this just by hearing the problem statements. You get so yeah, I feel like that's it. I mean, you being able to identify the right tool to actually use is because I've seen people using tools that I mean, it's like they are just over engineering, or like they didn't really understand the thing, so they're just using something that they could just do easily. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Makes sense. Okay. How do you see the future of mobile app engineering? Like in the next 2 to 3 years, how do you see this whole field being?
yeah, I mean, I mean, funny that the mobile side is one of the fields that is actually very clustered, right? Because one thing I've personally identified is a lot of people have, at a point in their life, they've done mobile app development, right? The person may be a backend engineer now, but when you start asking questions, you realize that the person has done some 100 app development like in the past before, right? And
Yeah.
the future for mobile app development, I'll say, I mean, personally, it's bright. There are going to be more tools and more easier way to do things, right? Um, the developer experience is going to be much better, and uh, I mean, just like how for something like JavaScript, I mean, for one language, there are lots of frameworks around it, right? In the mobile scene, for me personally, I feel like there's going to be a time that we're going to have a lot of frameworks that, I mean, people can't, although even I think it's happening now, people can even pick, I mean, what to go with, right? And
Yeah.
some of these tools, I mean, some are going to die out, and some are, new ones are going to come on board. But one thing I actually foresee is the no code solutions, right? So the platforms that you don't have to actually write code to develop mobile applications, they are going to become very popular. Yeah, that's one thing that I foresee. But generally, the future is very bright. I mean, depending on the phones that they are bringing, there's always tools to develop for those phones. So I think everything should be okay.
Yeah. Okay. So you also mentioned no code, right? How do you compare like these no code tools to the usual way of doing things, through programming?
But yeah, I mean, no code tools. They actually so when I started, right, I didn't like the no code solutions. Like I just hated them, right? Because
Yeah.
like I mean, anyone using them is not a serious person.
Yeah.
But moving on, I realized, I mean, these tools are actually there to help you prototype very fast. And I actually got the opportunity of me using some of them. So in Flutter, there's this particular platform called Flutter Flow, and it's basically a no code. I mean, you can just drag and drop the things, and basically at the end of the day, you can even export the code and just compile it and deploy. Yeah, and I mean they make work faster, although they also have their disadvantage, right? So basically,
Yeah.
you are restricted in what you can do because they are offering you particular components, right? So you have no choice than to go with those components. If you are
Yeah.
going to do a particular layout and that layout is not on the platform, it means you can't do it. It's as simple
Yeah.
as that, right? So
Yes.
Those are some of their limitations. But I mean, outside that, you can just use them for prototyping. You have an idea, you want to basically see if it's possible, or you want to basically demonstrate something to someone. Well, just use one of these platforms, bring the components together, build your screens, like just so them, okay, I mean, this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Then, based on that and the whole idea and the whole demonstration, you can then go back and build the actual thing. Since the actual thing gives you more control over what can build, right? You can build whichever layout that you want to build and whichever component that you want to build. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I
Makes
mean, no
sense.
code solutions are, I mean, they are very helpful.
All right. All right. Makes sense. Um, how do I answer this? Okay, let's come to the elephant in the room. Like most people in this, like any of these tech fields, their main goal is probably to make money, right? So me, I'm going to ask you straightforward. How does one actually make money as a mobile app engineer?
Yeah, making money as a mobile engineer. I mean, the basic way is developing for people, yeah, or building solutions for people, right?
Yeah.
But before you like actually get there, there's one thing that most people don't actually tackle, right? That's the exposure. Um, I remember reading certain article, and what the author said was, I mean, in the engineering field, you have to market yourself. You have to market, right? And what you're actually marketing is not your product, it's not your app, or it's not. You're actually marketing yourself, like you, the human being, right? You are
Yeah.
the product, right? So basically, letting people know how good you are, and that's one thing that lots of people don't do. And usually, see, I mean, I've personally met people who I'm not like they're not that good, but I mean they're still learning, right? But just because of how they've marketed themselves or how they've brand themselves, right? I mean, they are being approached by lots of like big companies or big institutions to build solutions for them, and they are
Yeah.
earning like I mean big money just because of how they've branded themselves, right? So for mobile engineering, I mean the pay is good, especially if you are good, right? I mean the pay is
Yes.
very good. But in our African market, I would say um, most people don't actually, should I say, respect sort of like a mobile engineer, right? They feel like what you're doing is actually very easy. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like, because maybe they've seen that the app is just about some six screens or nine screens, so they feel like, oh, I mean, this is something very easy. But I mean, if you go into the logic, it's different, right? And
Yeah.
someone can approach you and be like, I have this nice idea, blah, 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 blah. When you ask them for their budget or how much they intend to pay, you mention something like 1,500 and be like, really? Remember my one said, even how much is internet that you are paying me
Yes.
this amount, right? So, I mean, I mean, the pay is good if I mean you the developer yourself, I mean you are good, you're able to market yourself very well. That's the
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the one side. The other side is, I mean, you being good, you haven't market yourself well, and you are being underpaid, right? Then it gets frustrating because you feel like you're not earning what you're supposed
Enough.
to earn
Yeah.
from your skills. Yeah. So I mean, the pay is actually very good. If you go to something like Glassdoor and look at how much they basically pay mobile engineers, right? You realize I mean it's actually like very good. That's the thing. But that is in other countries, right? The pay
Yeah.
is like very everything. So that's why I mean most of the guys now they're targeting like those countries because they are good. But over
Yeah.
here you keep on building the crowd application, so no one is basically seeing your work. But when you go there, you build things. Yeah,
Yeah. Makes
that's
sense.
very good.
And speaking of marketing yourself, are there any tips that you would give, in regards to trying to market yourself?
Yeah. So I mean, even personally for me at first, I didn't really know that I have to actually market myself, right? I took part in, I think in 2018. There was this program by Andela and Google with Coursera, no, it's Coursera, no, not Coursera, Udacity, right? So they
Okay.
did some program for Africans. So basically, you apply either for Android app development, think um, cloud developer, and I think front end or something like that. Yeah. So and I did an Android back then, and at the end of the course, there was this particular model that they were talking about branding, right? And they taught us how to basically brand our LinkedIn, our GitHub, basically just put everything in order, right?
Yeah.
And I'll say, I mean, that particular course, I think it was just a video, right? It certainly helped me a lot because even up to now, I see sometimes if I'm there, I just go and watch it and check if my LinkedIn is still complying to what was said like back then, right? Because remember, in particular, after I followed their guidelines, right, I started getting lots of hits, like getting lots of people contacting me. Oh, I have this idea. Can you help me with this? Or I need recommendation on this and all that, right?
Yeah.
So what I would say is, I mean, that course is actually free on Udacity. So, I mean, anyone at all can go to Udacity and check it out, right? So it's called, I think, LinkedIn branding or something. I've forgotten the particular, but I'm sure when you type something like LinkedIn branding, you should see it, right?
Okay. Okay.
So, so to market yourself, I'll say the first or the most professional place is probably LinkedIn, right? So you put in your skills, you put in what you've done before and all of that, right? And your GitHub, I mean, you have your GitHub in order. Um, there's this thing that we usually miss. So your readmes, right? You
Yeah.
need to actually put something about the project you are working on in the readme because I don't want to go to your repo and I see the code there, but I don't know what the code is about or what the whole project is about, right? So
Yeah.
you put something in the readme. And the other part is, which is, should I say, not a conventional way, is Twitter, right? I mean, Twitter is a fun place, but it can also help you get like a job easily. For
Mhm.
example, if I work on a UI or I've finished coding something nice, I can just take a screenshot of it or a video of it and put it on my Twitter that, hey, like, I mean, this is what I've worked on, this and this and this and this. And that, I mean, so someone will basically see it and be like, wow, this guy is good. And
Yeah.
when they get a project or if they are someone also contact them for maybe an app developer, they'll probably contact you first because they've actually seen your work, right? So
Yeah.
so like they've actually seen your work in action. So they'll just contact you that "Hey, can you help with this? Unlike someone who is doing the stuff but is just hiding it in their room, right? So it's like no
Yeah.
one knows that you are even an app developer. So yeah, marketing yourself, I mean, LinkedIn, your GitHub, your Twitter, right? Make meaningful connections, right? So this, I mean, all this basically helps in your marketing or in your branding or personal branding. Yeah.
Yeah. Makes sense. Is there something that you would like to put out there? Just some short note that you like to put out there for those in this field?
Yeah. Mine will be, I mean, you have to be active in the tech community, right? Sometimes we see it as a burden or maybe it's not needed or I mean, but it's actually like very important because the only way you actually gain the knowledge you have now is because someone went out of their way to share that knowledge they also had, right? Through that
Yeah.
article, through that video and all that, right? So the
Yes.
only way you can still keep the process going is if you also share. That's the thing. So that's why I'm very active in the community, right? I mean, it's not that I have so much time on my hands. No, it's just that I mean I struggled when I was starting, and I don't want someone else to also struggle. So I'm willing to share what I know. Yeah.
Yeah, makes sense. That's like all the major questions on mobile app engineering, but just like just a few questions, just like about you yourself, not necessarily about mobile app engineering. And the first one is Mac OS, Linux, or Windows.
That's a tricky one.
You don't
So
need to
it's
give any explanation. You just like choose one.
oh, it will be between Linux and macOS. 'Cause, I,
Okay.
I I used to use Linux, then I moved to macOS, but I still have Linux in my VMware. So
Yeah. Okay. Okay. How about favorite ID?
I'll say VS Code. Yeah.
Okay. And favorite saying, something short.
Once you can conceive it, you can achieve it.
Okay. Okay. And last one, money or passion.
Right now is the money.
Yeah, very important. All right. So
Yeah.
basically, that's everything I have for you like right now. If you'd like to put anything out there, you could just say it now, or that would be all. Is there anything else?
Uh, no, I don't have anything else. I think
All
I've
right.
said
All
it
right.
all.
Yeah, so thank you for coming here, and like that's it for this video, and I thank like you for everything over here. All right.